they audited the books, and they were just like, hey, wait a minute, how come we're not getting our royalties on this?
Mm-hmm.
Because James Guercio signed a deal and he took the royalties.
Right.
So they had to sue him and get their publishing
Get
back.
their money.
It was kind of crazy, but the thing is James Guercio, he was a friend of theirs from back in the day before they were signed as Chicago.
Okay.
And he was working with like Blood, Sweat, and Tears and people like that.
Sure.
And he's the one who knew the people in the record industry, people at the Columbia Records, and he took them to Columbia and got them signed over there.
Okay.
But they thought, oh, our friend is watching our back. He's going to get us the best deal. Well, he got the best deal for himself.
Yeah, like all management people do. They secure the best thing for them, not for the band.
They did. And the guys weren't even looking into it at all. They were just like, holy shit, we're signed.
Yeah, cool.
We're signed with Columbia. We're cranking out a record a year. We're out there touring incessantly.
Mm-hmm.
We got chicks and money and limos, and we're playing big stages and playing with Jimi Hendrix and playing with
right,
all kinds of people, and they never stopped to think about, hey, are we getting the money?
Are we getting what we should?
and the same thing goes to Black Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing when Black Sabbath was signed with Sharon's father.
Yeah,
we're making records, we're touring the US, we're touring around, we're doing this, and I'm just living in a 1-bedroom apartment still. Where the fuck is that money going?
Mm-hmm. Dude, I remember this different type of band entirely. Not a band that sold a zillion records or not. But there was a time back in the late 90s, I guess it was, maybe 2000, and I interviewed Burton C. from Fear Factory.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to him, and this was after Obsolete had come out, which was obviously had Cars on it and Shock and like had a bunch of their hits, as well as Demanufacture, which is like their big one. So after those two, and I was talking to him, and he's a fairly tough interview anyway. He's not the most tell me about this and he just goes, you really got to pull some teeth. And I was struggling with the interview a little bit. So I asked him, I said, as I reached for questions, I was like, what did you do when you got your first big check that didn't feel like a local band check? And his answer was deadpan. He was like, I'll tell you when that happens. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, and he told me, he said, I'm still living in the same 1-bedroom apartment I was living in when we started this band. And I was like, how can that even be? And he told me, he said they were so excited when they first got signed that they signed a long contract and they didn't get shit. All they got was, they were like one of the originals of the t-shirt salesmen that make music, because they were making their money on the road, playing gigs and selling shirts. They were not making money. And I mean, those records were pretty big. I don't know if they were like multi-platinum or anything, but those were some, especially Demanufacture and Obsolete. Cars was a big hit for them, and still was living in an apartment. Still didn't have shit. Still didn't have he had never gone into a car dealer and bought a car.
Right.
I mean, how sad? How sad is that 10 years into your career? Yeah, it's tough, man. And you're successful at your career. I get it if you're one of these bands that hangs on and never has a hit. But they had 4 or 5 hits, and at the time with, Pantera and Machine Head and Sepultura and Type O and, all those bands were popular at the same time. They were on all those tours and still didn't have any money. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, it's all in that contract. The devil is in the details, as it goes. So, but some of these bands, they sold a shit ton of albums and had hits and all kinds of stuff, and they did not reap the benefits of that.
Yeah. It really is a lucky few that hit hard financially.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's kind of like, to me, it's surprising, and maybe it's because we know all these guys and we've met them, along the way. But it's really weird to me when I see some of these guys that were paraded on MTV as giants, and then when you meet them in real life, they're like, "Hey, man, could you get me a pack of cigarettes? I don't have any money to go get them." And or shit like that. Like I can remember distinctly, I did this thing with Devil Driver. It was barbecue with Devil Driver, and it was on the side of the Agora. Like, they just set up and they were barbecuing, and we gave away, this is when I was on MMS, we gave away some, like, 4 or 5 things for fans. And the deal was that, they would come out early, they would barbecue with Devil Driver, sit around talking music and just, shooting the shit, right? So we get there, I get there, I'm excited to do this because I love Devil Driver. I'm a big fan, and I was a big fan of Coal Chamber as well. So I go to this thing, and the bass player from the band is like, "Hey, man, can you run me up to the store? I need to get a couple things." We didn't have time to stop between wherever they were the night before and there. And I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So I take him to the store. He goes to buy, we went to like a gas station, more or less, one of these like super gas stations. He buys, I'm going to say $30 worth of stuff. Just bullshit, toothpaste and bag of chips and maybe a 6-pack of beer or something. This fucking guy didn't have $30. I ended up paying for it, and he gave me like $8.
Right.
He's like, "This is what I got, dude. Can you help me out?" It's like, "Yeah, sure. Fine." So I paid for the stuff that he got. But I was just like, you're on tour in a national touring act, going all around the country. You don't have $30 What the hell? Now, and that being said, he could have just been working me too, like the dumb rube I was that just paid for it.
Right.
But still, it was a bad look. Whether it was real or not, it was a very bad look that a guy in a national touring act didn't have $30 on his credit card.
Well, I mean, we were told a story like that. Somebody who's a friend of ours.
Who?
Remember?
Text it to me.
No. It's okay because it was right here on the show. Was. What was our friend's name over there? He died of the COVID.
Bill Chavis?
No.
The other guy. Justin Murr.
Mm-hmm. He was on the show, and he would do his Cigar Chronicles and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about having Steven Pearcy.
I don't remember this.
Yeah,
I'm sure it happened. You know me; I don't remember yesterday.
No, when I tell you the story, then you're going to remember
it. Sure.
He said so. He had Steven Pearcy doing some vocals for his record at the time, and he had him with him for a couple of days or something, and then he was taking him back to the airport or dropping him off at the airport, and they stopped at like a Pilot truck stop or something, and he goes, "Hey, bro. You think you got some of the," because he wanted to buy some of those T-shirts at the truck stop. I want to buy some of that wolf shit.
Wolf shit. I remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
So he's just like, you think you could lend me a couple of bucks? I want to buy some of this wolf shit.
Meanwhile, this guy sold 20 million records.
Exactly. But Justin was telling that story.
Yeah,
it was just on the show, and we were just laughing. And that's also what he was telling us, the story about Janie Lane, how Janie Lane wouldn't, he would just ride the elevator up and down all day. He didn't, he goes, "Well, we got to go to the studio," and all he wanted to do was just ride the elevator up and down. Yeah. Remember he was telling
I remember that too. Yeah,
fucking bizarre stories.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, holy shit. Some of these guys that you think would be very affluent, and wouldn't even think, anything of it. And you're just like, holy shit, these guys don't have any money.
No, they're broke. It makes you wonder why they don't go get a real job.
Because this is what I do. I'm a musician. I still can sell shows.
Yeah, I get. Well, for those bands, fine. But what does like a Nelson do? They don't. They can't have made enough money to be set for life.
Yeah,
can they?
But you got to realize their father was Rick Nelson.
Yeah, so maybe they don't have to. Maybe they inherited a bunch.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's the case.
Yeah, because I can't. I mean, they pop. They're like one of those that pops up every once in a while. You know, you see, hey, the Nelson brothers are doing this, or every once in a while they'll be on a tour or something, and it's like, what are they? Where are these guys? You know,
it's like being DeWeasel Zappa. You know,
yeah.
I mean, he's DeWeasel Zappa, but I'm sure he's probably got some money from the Frank Zappa, estate.
I'm sure that's all of his money came from the Frank Zappa estate.
Exactly. So those situations, the Nelson situation, I'm sure they're not out there, working for singing for their supper, as it were. Mm-hmm. And some of these guys, they do have a sideline that they do. Like Joey Allen from Warrant. He does like computer shit or something.
Okay.
He's got some other business he does. And I guess he does okay at it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But some of these guys, they've got sideline businesses that, music isn't their main income.
Sure. Huh. It's just sad. It's just sad. Maybe it's that whole goes back to the old saying of don't meet your heroes, because when you do, they might not all turn out to be dicks, but it's even worse when they turn out to be broke dicks.
Yeah, you're just like, it's like, dude, I thought you were like this super rock star guy. And it's just like, yeah, well,
Yeah. You were rolling around in the video in the back of a limo with a pool in the back and naked women, and now you're bumming cigarettes off me? What?